Until you master this one thing, forget about profitability. That might sound harsh, but after years of watching traders struggle, fail, recover, quit, restart, and repeat the same mistakes over and over again, I have become convinced of one thing. Most traders are trying to solve the wrong problem. They think they need a better strategy, a better indicator, a better mentor, a better entry model, a better market, a better broker, a better time frame, something external, something they can point to and say, that is why I am not profitable. But eventually the market forces you to confront a truth that is much harder to accept. The biggest obstacle was never outside of you. It was inside you. And until you master yourself, forget about profitability. Not because profitability is impossible, because consistency is impossible. And consistency is what creates profitability. Think about it. How many times have you known exactly what you should do? You knew where your stop loss belonged. You knew the setup was not clean. You knew you should walk away after reaching your daily limit. You knew you were trading emotionally. You knew revenge trading was a bad idea. You knew all of it, and yet you still did the opposite. That is the real problem, not knowledge, behavior. Most traders do not have an information problem. They have a self-control problem, and the market exposes that weakness relentlessly, because trading is one of the few environments where you can know the right answer and still lose because you failed to execute it. That is why self-mastery is everything. Not because it sounds motivational, because it is practical. Without self-control, every strategy eventually breaks down. Fear interferes. Greed interferes. Impatience interferes. Ego interferes. And suddenly the strategy that looked amazing during backtesting disappears the moment real emotions show up. You know what happens when traders first enter this business? They are obsessed with learning the market. And that makes sense. The charts are complicated. Price movements seem random. Everything feels confusing. So they study, watch videos, read books, buy courses, collect indicators, learn setups, and gradually they improve. But then something strange happens. They reach a point where knowledge is no longer the main problem. The real battle begins, the psychological battle, the battle against themselves, the battle against the part of you that wants immediate results, the part of you that cannot tolerate uncertainty, the part of you that becomes emotional after losses, the part of you that wants revenge, the part of you that believes one trade can solve everything. That version of you is far more dangerous than any market condition, because market conditions change. Your emotional habits follow you everywhere. You can switch brokers, switch strategies, switch mentors, switch markets, and still carry the same destructive behaviors into every new environment. That is why some traders spend years moving in circles. They keep changing systems, but never change themselves. And because they never change themselves, the results never truly change either. You know what self-mastery really means? It means acting correctly when your emotions desperately want you to act incorrectly. That is the test. Not following rules when everything feels easy, following rules when everything feels difficult, following rules after losses, following rules after frustration, following rules when your account is down, following rules when your ego is hurt. That is where traders separate themselves. Anybody can feel disciplined when winning. Anybody can feel confident after a good week. The real question is, who are you when things stop working? Who are you when the market goes against you? Who are you when your emotions start screaming? Because that version of you determines your future more than any strategy ever will. Most traders underestimate how much emotional instability affects performance. A frustrated trader sees opportunities that do not exist. A fearful trader sees danger everywhere. A greedy trader sees oversized profits. A desperate trader sees certainty where there is none. Emotions distort perception. That is why self-control matters so much. Without it, you cannot see clearly. And without clarity, decision-making suffers. That is why the best traders often appear calm, not because they know the future, not because they never feel emotions, because they have learned how to manage themselves. That calmness becomes an edge. While everyone else is reacting emotionally, they remain focused. While everyone else is forcing trades, they remain patient. While everyone else is chasing losses, they remain disciplined. That difference compounds over time. One emotional mistake might seem small. One revenge trade might seem harmless. One impulsive decision might seem insignificant. But trading is a game of accumulation. Small mistakes accumulate. Small victories accumulate. Small habits accumulate. Everything compounds. That is why self-mastery compounds too. Every time you resist revenge trading, you strengthen discipline. Every time you stay patient, you strengthen patience. Every time you follow your process despite fear, you strengthen trust in yourself. Those moments seem small, but over months and years, they completely change who you become. And who you become determines how you trade. Most struggling traders are trying to build profitability without building the person capable of sustaining it. That never works. Because even if profitability arrives temporarily, emotional instability eventually destroys it. You have probably seen it happen, maybe even experienced it yourself. A trader finally starts making money, confidence grows, the account grows, everything looks great. Then greed appears, risk increases, discipline weakens, ego expands, and suddenly months of progress disappear. Why? Because profitability arrived before self-mastery. The money changed. The person did not. That is why mastering yourself matters more than mastering any strategy. A disciplined trader with a simple edge can become profitable. An undisciplined trader with an amazing edge will eventually sabotage themselves. The market rewards behavior more than intelligence. That is a difficult lesson for many people because intelligence feels powerful, knowledge feels powerful, but neither can save you from emotional decision making. Only self-control can do that. And self-control is built through repetition, through awareness, through honesty, through catching yourself when emotions begin taking over, through refusing to let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. That process is not glamorous. There are no screenshots for it, no applause, no social media posts celebrating it. Most of the work happens internally, quietly, when nobody is watching, when you choose discipline over impulse, patience over urgency, process over emotion, again and again and again, until eventually it becomes part of who you are. That is when trading begins to change. Not because the market changes, because you change. The same charts, the same setups, the same uncertainty, but a completely different trader, a trader who no longer needs every trade to work, a trader who no longer panics after losses, a trader who no longer forces opportunities, a trader who no longer treats the market as emotional entertainment. That transformation is where consistency begins. And consistency is where profitability is born. So if you are wondering what strategy will finally make you profitable, what indicator will finally change everything, what setup will finally unlock success, you may be asking the wrong question. The better question is, can you trust yourself under pressure? Can you stay disciplined when emotions rise? Can you remain patient when nothing is happening? Can you accept uncertainty without trying to force certainty? Can you control yourself when your mind wants chaos? Because until you master that one thing, until you master yourself, forget about profitability. Not because you cannot reach it, but because you cannot keep it. And in trading, keeping profitability is what truly matters. Because keeping profitability is the part nobody talks about. Everybody wants to know how to make money. Very few people ask how to keep making money. That difference is enormous. The market is full of traders who have had profitable weeks, profitable months, even profitable years, and then gave it all back. Not because their strategy stopped working, because their discipline stopped working. That is why self-mastery is not some motivational concept. It is survival. The market has a way of rewarding you just enough to expose your weaknesses. Think about that for a second. The market will often give you enough success to make you confident. Then it will test whether that confidence is genuine or emotional. And most traders fail that test. A few winning trades happen. Now they feel invincible. Risk increases. Patience disappears. Rules become optional. The ego starts whispering, "You have figured it out. You are different now. You cannot lose." And that is usually when the market delivers one of its most painful lessons, humility, because The market does not care how confident you feel. It does not care how many winning trades you had last week. It does not care how strongly you believe in your analysis. The market responds to behavior, not belief. And if your behavior becomes reckless, the consequences eventually arrive. That is why self-mastery never ends. There is no finish line. There is no point where you suddenly become immune to greed, immune to fear, immune to impatience. Those emotions never disappear. The difference is that mature traders recognize them faster. A beginner feels greed and acts on it. A professional feels greed and notices it. That tiny difference changes everything because awareness creates choice, and choice creates control. Most struggling traders live emotionally. Whatever they feel becomes what they do. If they feel excited, they increase risk. If they feel frustrated, they revenge trade. If they feel fearful, they hesitate. If they feel bored, they force setups. Their emotions become instructions. And that is dangerous because emotions are temporary. But the consequences of emotional decisions can last for months. Professional traders understand this. That is why they do not trust every feeling. They do not automatically believe every thought. They do not assume every urge deserves action. Instead, they create distance, a small space between emotion and behavior, and inside that space lives discipline. You know what the market eventually teaches every trader? The hardest person to manage is not the market. It is yourself. Managing risk is easy compared to managing ego. Following a strategy is easy compared to controlling greed. Understanding probability is easy compared to accepting uncertainty emotionally. That is why trading humbles so many intelligent people, because intelligence alone is not enough. The market does not only test what you know, it tests who you are. It tests how you react when things go wrong. It tests how you behave when things go right. It tests whether you can remain the same person through both, and most people cannot. They become overly confident after wins, overly fearful after losses, emotionally unstable during drawdowns, emotionally reckless during winning streaks. Their behavior constantly changes, and inconsistent behavior creates inconsistent results. That is why self-mastery is the foundation underneath everything else. Without it, nothing lasts. A good strategy cannot survive emotional chaos. A strong edge cannot survive undisciplined execution. A profitable month cannot survive reckless behavior. Everything eventually returns to the same question. Can you control yourself? Not once, not twice, consistently, day after day, month after month, year after year. That is what separates traders who visit profitability from traders who live there. And the truth is, most people are looking for excitement when they should be looking for stability. That realization changes everything because stability feels boring. Nobody brags about patience. Nobody celebrates discipline on social media. Nobody gets excited about following risk management rules. But those are the exact things that build careers. The market rewards boring behavior. It rewards consistency. It rewards restraint. It rewards emotional maturity. Meanwhile, it punishes excitement. It punishes impulsiveness. It punishes emotional decision making. It punishes the need to force outcomes. That is why many traders eventually experience a strange shift. The things they once thought were boring become valuable. Waiting becomes valuable. Risk management becomes valuable. Patience becomes valuable. Walking away becomes valuable. At the beginning, they wanted action. Now they want clarity. At the beginning, they wanted excitement. Now they want consistency. At the beginning, they wanted fast money. Now they want sustainable money. That evolution is usually a sign that real growth is happening because profitable traders think differently, not just about the market, about themselves. They stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make better decisions? That is a powerful shift because better decisions create better outcomes. But chasing outcomes rarely creates better decisions. One approach focuses on what you control, the other focuses on what you cannot. And the market has a way of rewarding people who focus on what they can control. That is why self mastery becomes such a powerful advantage When fear appears, you stay disciplined. When greed appears, you stay disciplined. When frustration appears, you stay disciplined. When boredom appears, you stay disciplined. The emotion changes. The behavior does not. That is the goal. Not becoming emotionless, becoming stable. And stability is rare, very rare. Most people spend their entire trading journey searching for certainty, but certainty does not exist. The market will always contain uncertainty. The question is whether you can remain emotionally stable while uncertainty exists. That is the real challenge. And that is why self-mastery sits at the center of everything. Because the moment you master yourself, something incredible happens. The market becomes quieter, not literally, psychologically. The noise starts fading. The desperation starts fading. The need to force outcomes starts fading. The obsession with being right starts fading. Now you can finally see clearly. Now you can finally think clearly. Now you can finally execute consistently. Not because the market became easier, because your mind became stronger. And when your mind becomes stronger, everything changes. The same loss no longer destroys your confidence. The same drawdown no longer creates panic. The same uncertainty no longer feels unbearable. That emotional strength allows consistency to emerge. And consistency is what every trader is truly searching for, not a magical strategy, not a secret indicator, not a shortcut. Consistency. The ability to show up every day as the same disciplined person, regardless of what happened yesterday. Because that version of you is the one capable of surviving, the one capable of growing, the one capable of becoming profitable, and most importantly, the one capable of staying profitable long after the excitement has disappeared.